Okay guys, I'm going to introduce your painting station, and your painting station for the most part is here in this area of the classroom. First thing I would ask you once you get your painting approved is what paper you would like to work on. Again, you go to that menu board and you pick, for right now up here, B, C, and D are your watercolor papers, and then you will find, I spun you around there. You will find your watercolor papers back here along with the drawing paper. And it doesn't matter with the drawing station, you can choose if your piece is rather small and it will fit into your folder, you don't have to attach it onto the board. With painting, you have to attach it. No matter how big or how small it is, we're going to attach it down. So this is a square piece of watercolor paper and I have attached it down on all four sides. You're going to find your masking tape over in the drawing station. You'll see it here on it's a paper towel holder, and it's just a nice way to hold that masking tape from class to class. And then your painting station is kind of set up like like you're going through a cafeteria line, and it is self-serve, and the choices are acrylic paint. I will also have cake tempera out and ready for you, and the cake tempera, all you need to do is activate it with a wet brush and water. And then in this drawer is the watercolor pans. These are different than maybe you're used to in the past. They come in these almost like a puck, and then you can put your palette together, and there's warm colors, there's kind of like primary colors, and you can get just what you want. And up here we have brushes, a nice variety. The puppy dog bowls are for putting water in. And then these are your palettes for mixing your paint and kind of holding onto your paint. Downside to these is they do need to get washed at the end of class, dried, and then put back. So once we really get in the swing of things, what you will first do is come up and you will look in the drawers. And if I would need red paint, I would reach in and get my red paint. If I would need blue paint, I would come and get the blue paint out of the blue drawer. Because it's marking period 1 and we haven't done anything yet, you're gonna need to dispense your own paint. So you're gonna come to this drawer that says lids and cups, or cups and lids, and you will find them in here. And these are the kind of cups that you would get at a restaurant, maybe if you were taking salad dressing home or putting ketchup in. And so there's cups and there's lids. So if I would need red, I would put a little bit of red paint in a cup and put a lid on it. And I would also take a mixing palette back to my seat. And then at the end of the block, if you still need your paint, you're going to put your paint over on your class shelf. And if you no longer need your paint, you're going to put it back into the drawer. The drawers are where you're donating your paint back to the class, and anybody can get it during the next class or even during your class. If your paint is put back on your class shelf, then it is just for you and nobody will take it. The acrylic paint is here, and it is not going to come out of your clothing. So you want to make sure that this does not get on your clothing. So I have aprons in the back. I have a whole bin of, this is just scrap mat board, and we use this for kind of like scooping and stirring and mixing so that you're not using your brush as a mixing tool. If you use your brush to stir the paint, it's going to force the paint into what's called the ferrule of the brush. This is the metal part of the brush, and then it junks up the brush really well. So one tool that I have for cleaning your brushes that I like to use and introduce to students are these mitts. Now I'm going to put it in the sink just because I'm holding my phone as I'm videoing, but you would put a little bit of soap on this mitt and then use that to kind of scrub out, and these little textures help to agitate the paint out of the brush. Get it really nice and clean and then put it back. I've got soap back here, paper towels. These have a little bit of abrasion to them, so if there's any acrylic paint on your art table, you could use that to clean it up. And both sinks have these plastic bins with similar items in them. Over the summer, there was some water leakage in the classroom, and the maintenance men have explained to me that our sinks are working, but our hot water for right now is turned off. So that's not a tragedy. We don't often need hot water. We need water for washing our hands. We need water for cleaning our brushes and to fill up our water tubs. But being without the hot water is not a tragedy. So if you're turning these and nothing is happening, that is why. So you're gonna go for the blue, cold, and then blue, cold. They're opposite each other. And the same thing is over at the other sink. These are the sinks that I would like you to use for painting. This is the sink that I would like my students to use for sculpture or clay. I also have one of the Dawn Power Wash bottles here that I like if you are struggling maybe to get an area clean with just water. You could add that. So your paint options are watercolor, cake tempera, acrylic. Your paper choices are up on the menu board. However, if you'd like to paint on something else like mat board or cardboard, you can always ask, and we can make that accommodation. Paper towels are here, and I do have some mess mats that you can use to put underneath. These are new, and they're over here where we keep the drawing boards. So drawing boards, and then these mess mats are new for putting underneath work, and I'll find a slightly better spot for these. I might consolidate this area so that you can definitely see where the mess mats are compared to where the drawing boards are. So drawing boards for attaching your paper, and then mess mats for working on top of if you need it for underneath something while you're painting. So that's your your painting station, and you will find a nice wide variety of materials to work with and enjoy painting.